with the best in professional wrestling news, entertainment, and lots of Sin City surprises from inside the squared circle. Now, let's get to all the exciting pro wrestling action and bring on the host. Here is Mark Hoke.
And good morning, Las Vegas. What's going on? Oh, we are going to have a great time here. This is the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment, our top-rated live show here on KDAWN. And there's a reason why, because we're just that darn good. That's what we do. We're going to bring to you just more and more pro wrestling excitement happening. We actually have a week without a pay-per-view. My God, it's stunning. I know. That changes next week, and the week after that. It never ends, but we are going to keep it coming to you, and we're happy to have you joining us here wherever you're listening to us, whether it's on KDAWN on 101.5 FM, the Odyssey app worldwide. If you haven't downloaded it, I've told you to. Why aren't you listening to me? Shame on you. Grow up. Just do it. It's a terrific app, and all sorts of great shows on there from our KDAWN family, like SportsX Radio, that you get to hear on this terrific station from 6 to 8 p.m. You get to listen to Ken Thompson and me trying to keep that show in order as well. So get that Odyssey app. We're also live streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and I decided, what the heck? Let's pop it up on X2 today. See how that goes. So very happy to have you along for the ride. And another guy I brought along for the ride today, who you have seen, well, you heard him on SportsX Radio, and we are very excited. Even though he is a Pittsburgh Penguins guy, we will forgive him for that. Jason Halperin is in the house, and Jason, it's funny, I didn't know that you were a pro wrestling guy, but when I found that out, I'm like, I got to get Jason in here because we have a lot of fun when we're on SportsX Radio. Jason comes up with the cutest little quips that just make me die laughing. You know, he's like that silent bomber that just sits there and all of a sudden, boom. And I'm very happy to have you joining us. So, Jason, welcome to the Mark Hoke Show for the first time. Very happy to have you with us.
Thanks, Mark. It is great to be here. Glad to finally be able to make it. It is that slow week, like you said, with no pay-per-view, so things have slowed down for me as well. So I guess it was just the timing of it.
All right. Well, we're happy to have you here. And of course, we're also going to be joined later on in the show by the president of wrestling. You know, I want to take him on for that. I want an election at Pro Wrestling Revolver at some point. I'm gonna go for it. I think I want to get
get your name on the ballot.
Yeah, I want to get a nomination from the floor. I'm going to take him on. Phil Stamper is going to be joining us. Great guy. And if you haven't heard him on the show before, he is absolutely phenomenal. So we'll look forward to hearing from Phil Stamper as soon as he can get on. I know we're definitely going to have him for the second hour. He may join us a little sooner, but we will wait to hear from Phil Stamper. I want to remind you, if you are joining us wherever you are, hop in that chat box. We want to hear your comments, and we'll certainly answer your questions. We love to hear that. It's great to interact with our listeners. So thank you for joining us in there as well. All right. So, Jason, I thought we'd start with a little WWE stuff because they had some people showing up. A few new friends. Well, old friends that are new friends that are back and a new debut. So why don't we start with some peeps coming out and getting beat up as the new Wyatt 6. And if you didn't know, that 6 is spelled SICK and the number 6. And of course, in honor of the late Bray Wyatt, as the gang is, well, they're almost all here.
They are. Most, but not quite.
Not quite. We've got 5 of them. So Bo Dallas, of course, leading the way, portraying Uncle Howdy. And then we have other Firefly Funhouse characters in there. But it's Dexter Loomis, Joe Gacy, Eric Rowan, and Nikki Cross showed up. And boy, did they show up. They laid waste to the back. Anybody that was in Gorilla or hanging around the backstage area was, well, they were beaten and bloodied. That was not good. So, but of course, the crowd's going crazy. Everybody is very excited about this as we have at least 5 members. And of course, speculation about who the last member would be. Would expect it to be Alexa Bliss when she finally does get back. But of course, you never know. Could be somebody else. Some people are even saying, well, the 6th person is the spirit of Bray Wyatt. I don't know about that. But we do have a new group here, and I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm happy. I think this is a terrific ode to Bray, and I hope everything works out. I really do. Here's the question, and I'll fire this at you, Jason. Are they gonna get it right this time? Are they gonna do the supernatural thing the right way? Or will this turn into a convoluted mess that we're going to regret putting on TV? That's what I'm worried about. Do you think that WWE is going to handle this the right way this time around?
I think they have a legitimate shot to handle it the right way. The fact that it's a whole new era, I think with Triple H leading the way, I think that he knows what went wrong the last time, and they need to do a better job. And I really think they will do a better job on portraying it and getting that whole supernatural thing going. Um, as far as Alexa Bliss coming back and joining them as the missing member, I also think that's going to happen at some point. Um, the question is just going to be when.
Yeah. Yeah, I would imagine it's got to be her, but like I said, you never know. Maybe she's going to try and fight off the supernatural yearnings of the spirit of Bray Wyatt, and try to stay on the side of brightness. You never know. I mean,
Yeah,
so the only thing that scares me is a lot of times when you get into all this supernatural stuff in pro wrestling, it uh, it seems like a lot of times they just kind of take it too far and they lose the whole point of it. I mean, it's been done quite a bit. We know this. And I mean, for me personally, it goes all the way back to Kevin Sullivan. Back in the Florida days,
hmm
where it was him and woman and superstar Billy Graham and Mark Lewin and that little group where he scared the living bejesus out of everybody in the Florida Panhandle and up and down the state. And it was a pretty good gimmick, and Sir Oliver Humperdinck was in there too. And they kind of figured out where to let it go, and every time they've done something along the lines in WWE, it just seemed like it it just ended up in a weird place that didn't make sense in the end. And at some point when you tell this story, the story's got a beginning, and this is a good beginning, right? You've reassembled this group in the spirit of Bray. All right. So now they're going to go around, they're going to start beating people up that, who knows, but who knows where it's going to go. And, what's the objective, right? Is the objective of these guys to go out and just torture every WWE superstar that they feel like they needed to? Is it to go out and win championships? You know, is it just to kind of hang around and, hey, I'm just going to pop up everyone. What's going to be the point of the group? And then you got to get to, at some point, the end of the story, right?
yeah.
I mean, it's not going to last forever. Eventually this thing is going to, it'll wear out, and to honor Bray properly, you want to give it a proper ending. So, I hope that, and I trust Triple H because I think he's done a pretty good job with the storytelling for the most part. I hope that when they do this, that there's a really good plan of where they want to take it and where it's going to end at some point. That's what concerns me the most, Jason.
Yeah, it's once again, it's like you said, it's been done for a while. Some have been done right, some have been done wrong. I'm just curious as to, like you were just saying, who are they going to go after to start? You have this faction back. Factions need to battle other factions. They need to come out. Are they going to go after another faction? Are they going to try to make a name, or is it like you said, are they just going to just go around and wreak havoc in the back? I mean, the wreaking havoc thing has been done. Um, and the last time it was done, it wasn't done real well. So if they're going to do the wreaking havoc, there's got to be a point to it. There's got to be a reason. Are these people that they're going after for a specific reason that had at some point or another wronged Bray Wyatt? Is that going to be a reason for it, or is it just going to be, let's just keep interrupting shows left and right, because that's not going to be good if that's what it is.
Okay, Retribution did that.
Yes, and it was not done well.
No,
and there was a good chance they could have done Retribution well, but they chose to go a really bad direction with it, and then thankfully they just finally just killed it off and got rid of it, because that was done very poorly. Hopefully the Wyatt Six is not going to be like what Retribution was.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try and keep an open mind to it. I hope everything works out, and it's an interesting group of people too. You kind of had a group of misfits there, and I'm curious to see what they'll do in the ring too. I think a lot of the people that are involved in this group very underrated as wrestlers. But then again, at the same time, most of these guys were generally mid-card wrestlers. Nikki won a championship, and obviously Eric Rowan had some great moments. But Joe Gacy was down in NXT. Dexter Lumis was an NXT person. So this is, and Bo had his moments too, but very underrated guy. I mean, to say the least. And I think he got a very raw deal in WWE. So this is going to be a fascinating dynamic just in the ring too, to see what they do. But like I said, I think it's going to get handled well, but God, let's just hope there's not a giant Jack in the Box or anything like that.
Yeah, let's definitely hope that doesn't happen. I'd be curious to see if they go after any of the other members or former members or associates of Wyatt. You've got guys like Braun Strowman.
Mm-hmm.
You've got guys, I believe, Randy Orton at one point was associated with him. You could go after these guys, and you could have a real storyline, like trying to bring them, quote unquote, over to the dark side. Not to borrow from Star Wars there, but kind of bring them over to that supernatural side. See if it's possible, or if not, it's at least the start of a storyline there. It gives them someone to go after right away, versus just the wreaking havoc.
Yeah, and it was interesting, to see Chad Gable get laid out, and CM Punk was laid out, and Trips. I mean, that was some interesting choices, but I think it was just a matter of these guys were in the way.
Yeah.
More than anything else. But of course, Drew McIntyre had fun with CM Punk getting laid out. That when he brought back his social media accounts, and one of the first things he put up was a picture of a bloodied CM Punk. So way to go, Drew.
Yeah, quit for a day,
He's back on it.
It was the quick quit. The whole quit with Drew McIntyre. I know we're shifting over pretty fast here. But the whole quit with Drew McIntyre, it would have sold a lot better if the story hadn't come out already about him signing a big contract with the WWE. Had it actually not been, publicized that he signed a contract, it would have been more believable that he truly did quit.
Yeah.
But I think the fact that everyone knew that he just signed a big contract, everyone knew he didn't quit. It didn't sell well. But you knew he was going to go after Punk. You knew it was going to happen in Chicago after what happened in his home country.
And I'm sure he was slightly annoyed. So, I'll tell you what, let me take a break, because I think we're probably going to end up getting into a pretty interesting topic around the bloodline. So let's take a step back. We're going to break here. And when we come back, has the most dangerous Samoan of them all showed up? I wonder if he has, as a debut happened on that same episode of SmackDown on Friday night. Everybody better hold on to their hats, because kids. Jacob Fautu is in town in WWE, and it may never be the same. Stick around, everybody. We've got a whole lot more on the Mark Hoke Show. Jason Halperin sitting in with me today, and of course, we've also got Phil Stamper coming up. We'll be right back.
Okay, this contract looks good to me. Let me just run it by my lawyer.
Everyone knows that having a good lawyer on hand can be a real game changer, which is why Legal Shield connects you to a vetted law firm in your state for a low monthly fee. Only Legal Shield has been providing this kind of legal peace of mind for over 50 years. Need an experienced set of eyes on that fine print? With Legal Shield, you can say,
Let me run it by my lawyer.
is the dealership giving you a hassle about warranty repairs?
I guess we'll have to talk to our lawyer.
And for that will you've been putting off, you can finally tell your family.
We're good. I had our lawyer take care of it.
Legal Shield isn't AI bots. It's a dedicated group of real lawyers who have your back, no matter what the future brings, all for around the price of those streaming services you don't watch anymore. Sign up at LegalShield.com/radio today. PPLSI does not provide legal representation or advice. See a plan for complete terms.
Ready for your next vacation? Not so fast. Before you hit the road, remember these healthy habits to keep yourself and others safe and sanitary. Wash your hands after using the restroom, before eating and after blowing your nose. Sanitize airplane seats and tray tables. Sneeze or cough into a tissue or your elbow. And avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth with unwashed hands. Lastly, make sure you're up to date on all your routine vaccines, including the COVID-19 vaccine. It's also important to get tested when necessary, such as if you develop COVID-19 symptoms before, during, or after travel. If you will be traveling to visit someone who is at a higher risk of getting very sick from COVID-19, or if you're in a situation with a greater risk of exposure during travel. Pack these tips on your next adventure. And remember, travel safely, Nevadans. This message is sponsored by a CDC grant through the Nevada Department of Health and Human Services, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
You're pregnant, and no matter what you do, no matter what you try, you can't stop using alcohol, drugs, or tobacco. But no matter how lost you are, how far along you are, it's not too late. There's always hope. And there are many safe places that can help you stop using. In Nevada, pregnant women are given the highest priority for substance use treatment. Low-cost treatment options may be available so you and your baby can get healthy now. If you or someone you love is pregnant or thinking about getting pregnant and using alcohol, drugs, or tobacco, visit SoberMomsHealthyBabies.org or call 211 to find help today. SoberMomsHealthyBabies.org also has resources for healthcare providers, friends, and family. If you want to help someone who's pregnant and using, visit SoberMomsHealthyBabies.org or call 211 today. Sponsored by the Nevada Division of Public and Behavioral Health and in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
1015 FM KDAWN. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Here again, your host, Mark Hoke.
All right, everybody, let's get back to it. The best in pro wrestling news and entertainment. Thanks for taking the time out on your Sunday morning to tune in wherever you are. We certainly do appreciate it. I got Jason facing the right way now. That's good.
Yeah, I just had to fix the camera there.
Yeah, well, and I had to fix you, but that's okay. It's first time. First time we had Jason in doing this. Every time I'm actually there's another show that has some different cameras in here too, but a lot of our other shows for some reason don't want to live stream. I don't know why. Maybe it's because, I'm just a handsome devil.
Couldn't understand why not, but I know typically on the sports shows we're not live streaming, so I had to get the camera fixed. A little technical difficulty there, but it's all taken care of now.
Yeah, well, spinning a chair. Yeah, it's all good.
I actually just moved the camera is what it was.
Yeah.
I didn't even want to move my chair. It was easier just to move the camera.
Fair enough. Well, we are, of course, on the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 1015 FM, the talk of Las Vegas, the Odyssey app, and streaming out there all over the place. YouTube, Facebook, and X. Thank you for being with us today. We do appreciate it. And by the way, I want to remind everybody before we start talking about the Wolf invading WWE, Future Stars of Wrestling here in Las Vegas has their 15th anniversary show tonight down at the Silverton. And that is going to be an awesome time tonight. Mecca Championship, Chris Bay is going to be taking on Kenny King. Kenny at the Hall of Fame induction last night, by the way, tried to pull a retirement fake. Can you believe that? Didn't work.
I guess it's the new thing. I guess it's becoming the new thing again is to try to do that. I mean, we've seen it on others, so why not try it somewhere else?
Yeah, it didn't work. But Chris Bay did his induction speech, and then he challenges Chris Bay for his Mecca championship. So Hammerstone, unfortunately, was supposed to wrestle that, but he had to pull out. So Kenny King is going to be taking on Chris Bay tonight. A lot of other terrific matches down there, and congratulations to Joe DeFalco for 15 big years here in Las Vegas. Would highly recommend you go down. Should be a lot of fun. Shogun taking on Danny Limelight for the FSW Heavyweight Championship. That should be quality entertainment. And if you haven't seen Shogun and Danny Limelight, of course, Danny's all over the place and acting and everything else. Should be a great show. So get on down there. Awesome time. So future stars of wrestling, fswvegas.com. All right. Jacob Fatu is now in the bloodline. So now we've got Haku's kids. We got Solo Sikoa and a guy who, I'll tell you what, Jacob Fatu, of course, was in MLW for a very long time. I've seen Jacob live. I actually got to watch him wrestle, whichever name you want to give Mr. Cross in the first, Killer Cross, Carrion Cross. And Jacob is unbelievable. This guy can do almost anything he wants in a wrestling ring. And now that he has come in and laid waste to everybody, this Bloodline 2.0 becomes one of the most dangerous young factions. Man, I'll tell you what. I mean, you got the Guerrillas of Destiny and Solo, who actually came out of Future Stars of Wrestling, by the way, and now Jacob. What a group this is. And of course, Paul Heyman is doing a terrific job trying to figure out a way to get the hell out of there. I mean, this is something else. And I am very curious to see the future for this group of guys. Obviously, I think we're headed for a big showdown with Roman and the Usos and whoever else they bring in. But your thoughts, Jason, on Jacob Fatu now being a part of this group as opposed to being a part of Roman Reigns' side of things?
I think it's a great move. I think what they're doing, I like the fact they're going younger, bringing these guys that are a little more aggressive, or at least they're having them be more aggressive. They're showing that now this faction is not going to sit back. We're not going to be under the rule, quote unquote, the rule of the tribal chief, where they're going to sit back and just do his bidding. They're going to go out there and they're wreaking havoc. And I think that's really what the Bloodline needs to do, is to instill fear in everybody. And it couldn't be being done better with the guys they have. Jacob Fatu is just another one. Yeah, you've said it. He's done it all, and he can do it all in the ring. And he's going to be the one that's going to probably be the most formidable out of all of them.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, because Solo was someone that I was really excited to get in there, because I felt like this is a guy that is a future world champion. And now you throw in Jacob too. I mean, these two guys could be fighting down the road for years and years in WWE, back and forth. I mean, this is guys that could team together and then split up and fight and split up and fight. Just two incredibly talented guys. This is going to be interesting. But there is one other factor. We talked about the Usos. We talked about Roman Reigns. We were discussing this before the show, and we talked about these four guys in the Bloodline. But there's a puppet master out there. There's another guy who's hanging out in Hollywood that the name didn't come up. And that's our buddy Dwayne. Good old Dwayne.
Yeah.
What's Dwayne going to do with all this? Because I'm hoping that he's the one. Because this is you talk about who the fourth man is, and my booking mind is going to, okay, Dwayne might go with the other three guys, but he's going to turn on Roman, and it's going to turn. He's the one that's behind these four guys. Kind of just my little nasty, cruel, family crushing mind going at it there, because Roman lost and speared him at WrestleMania and all that. So,
well, I think they've set it up they've really set it up well for that because of the whole I didn't lose to you didn't beat me with the whole talk back with Cody Rhodes where Dwayne's sitting there going, "You didn't beat me. I didn't lose." And then you had the way the whole bloodline just kind of changed with Solo saying we don't take to losing, and there went the other Uso. So now you definitely have that split. I think Dwayne really is the one that's probably pulling the strings right now. He probably is thinking he is the true head of the table right now, and it sets it up where you have that split. It allows Roman to come back as a baby. Uh, you definitely now have a true set of heels in the bloodline. No one's going to be cheering for them, especially when Roman comes back. Allows the Usos to come back, and you have a definite hit against each other. You can bring Dwayne back initially to be with Roman, but like you just said, splitting him off and having him on the other side makes it even better.
So that begs this question, because what everyone is saying is that the main event of next year's WrestleMania is Cody against The Rock. But should next year's WrestleMania, at least for one of the days, be Rock and Roman? Because if you're setting up this massive bloodline versus bloodline feud, wouldn't the ultimate result of that be this huge Roman versus The Rock showdown? And doesn't that, to a point, leave Cody out of the mix? That's something you've really got to think about, don't you, when you're setting up next year's WrestleMania?
I don't know if it leaves them out of the mix because I don't think you really need to have Roman and The Rock, either of them, fighting for the championship at that point. I think it's really past them. I think the story of the bloodline, it brings a conclusion to the bloodline as we've seen it by having Roman and The Rock go after each other. There doesn't have to be a championship involved. They've got to have some of these younger guys start stepping up. At some point, it becomes a little old. You could really see Cody fighting with Orton is a good possibility for WrestleMania next year.
Go.
It's really a good possibility there because Orton's getting long in the tooth. Give him another shot to get in there. You just finished up with AJ Styles. Let's get a couple of these other older guys, give them their shot with Cody, give them that great moment with them on the grandest stage. And I think that's something that you can have and still not take away from the whole thing with Roman and The Rock.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. Of course, when Orton saved Cody the other night, Orton was looking very lustfully at that WWE World Championship.
Of
and
course.
Yeah, you may be onto something there, because I think everybody's you're hinting at that match at some point, which would be a great full circle match for the two of them. But I hadn't considered that at WrestleMania as a main event. But I don't think anybody would be complaining too much if you had that and a Rock Roman kind of co-main event on night 2. I think people would be doing that. And I think Las Vegas would get a kick out of that one.
Absolutely. Another one I was actually thinking, you could also look at a CM Punk, but I think at WrestleMania next year, you're going to see that's going to be the culmination. Finally, they're going to end the story between McIntyre and Punk at WrestleMania. I think that's where that one happens. You're going to see it a couple times throughout this year. SummerSlam is probably going to be the first one we're going to have Punk and McIntyre going after each other. But there is a possibility of Punk being involved with Cody as well. But I don't see it just yet. I see this McIntyre Punk thing being able to last to next WrestleMania.
Yeah, that is a distinct possibility. Yeah, and we had talked about this on the show last week, that there are so many different possibilities for the World Heavyweight Championship. So many top guys now, as opposed to where it was, say, 3 years ago. This is actually the 175th edition of my show, and I remember the state of WWE when I first started doing this show on KDAWN, and just how bad it was, and how it was Brock and Roman, and anybody else out there was just a second tier, who cares. And now there are so many people out there that you could consider holding a world championship and being in the main event. It's phenomenal. And not to to steal a phrase there, but this is exciting right now. And we haven't even talked about Seth Rollins coming back yet, and he's going to be in the main event at Money in the Bank, which I think is very intriguing that all of a sudden now he's inserted into this whole dynamic with the World Heavyweight Championship, with Gunther waiting in the wings. This is fun, Jason. It's fun.
It's you've got great stars on both sides of the shows, with SmackDown and with Raw. You have legitimate contenders, legitimate champions. It's like you said, not like where it was 3-4 years ago. They've done a great job of just bringing these guys up, really developing their characters, and giving you something to watch for.
Yeah, the creative in WWE has changed so much now that Triple H has been in charge. And it's and I was thinking about this the other day too, just how much better this has been for everybody and how much more well-rounded it has been for all the performers. I mean, they have to feel like they've got a legitimate chance, if they do a great job, to work their way up through, as opposed to feeling like there was a ceiling there, and if you weren't one of Vince's favorites, I'll be wrestling for the Intercontinental title and be maybe a 3-time Intercontinental champion, or a U.S. champ, and get a couple tag team title reigns and just sit back and watch the show. Otherwise, it is a very different WWE than it was just 12, 16 months ago ish.
Absolutely. I mean, look at it. They really want to promote the next generation of stars. You can see it already happening. Triple H is look at the guys, and look at not just the guys, look at the women, all the people that have come off of NXT that are now on the main card, and they're succeeding. They're not quite at that number one tier yet, but they're really pushing them to showcase them and push them up into that next tier.
Yeah, and the continuity between the main rosters and NXT has changed a lot too, because Vince was just taking the people coming up from NXT and I don't like the character, I'm just going to change it and make him, Steve Smith is now Wonky McWonkson, and you just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? We fell in love with this guy down here, and you've just totally blown him up. And they have to become a totally that would have to be really hard too, because part of being down there in developmental, you're developing yourself, you're developing a character, and say, hey, we're going to give you the call. You did a great job down there. Come on up. And guess what? All that work you did down there, we're thrown in the garbage can. I mean, that had to be so difficult for all of those men and women that went through all that, and now they don't have to do it. Because you got two guys on the same page, as opposed to, everybody else is on one page, but the boss was on the other, so it's pretty exciting stuff, to say the least. And, a couple of those guys from NXT are going to be wrestling at Money in the Bank for that case. And we had some qualifiers where we come back. We're going to talk a little bit about 3 of those people that made it into that Money in the Bank. Who should be the Money in the Bank case winner? At least so far.
Those are tough ones.
I don't think it's any of them. I had my idea last week, but we'll talk about those guys. And a little bit about Shane McMahon.
Back on the radar.
Oh, my God. Are you kidding? We'll be right back.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill. Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated in the best hearing aids of 2024 by USA Today, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 500,000 happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Did you know you can stream Fox News Radio on the free Odyssey app? Just download the free Odyssey app and search for Fox News Radio to hear the voices you trust. Brian Kilmeade.
Why are we so scared of Iran thinking they were at war with them?
Guy Benson.
Get the bleep out of here. It's disgusting.
Jimmy Fela.
Then this administration rolled into town with a checkbook.
Are all on the free Odyssey app. From the news and talk to keep you informed and up to date during election season, listen to Fox News Radio on the free Odyssey app. That's AUDACY.
Understanding the many things in a mother's life affecting her pregnancy is important. You can help improve the health of all mothers and babies in Nevada by completing a Pregnancy Risk Assessment Monitoring System survey about your recent pregnancy. Also known as PRAMS, the survey is from the Nevada Division of Public and Behavioral Health and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The survey asks new moms about their experience before, during, and after pregnancy. Responses are confidential and used to help improve the health of mothers and babies in Nevada. If you receive a PRAMS survey, please share your story. Learn more at nvprams.dpbh.nv.gov. That's nvprams.dpbh.nv.gov. This message sponsored by the Nevada Division of Public and Behavioral Health, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey Nevadans, prescriptions can be expensive. Let the Array RX discount card be your solution. Now available to all Nevada residents. Simply sign up for free. Show your pharmacist your digital card and save money. Receive discounts of up to 80% on certain medications. There are no age or income restrictions, and it only takes a minute to enroll, so you can get back to doing what makes you happy.
This message funded by a grant through the Nevada Department of Health and Human Services, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey there, I'm Healthy Hank, your health hero, here to give you little habits for healthy travels. Whether you're jet setting across the globe or hitting the road for a spontaneous adventure, it's crucial to prioritize health safety every step of the way. Picture this, you're on a road trip making a quick pit stop at a gas station. Before you dive into those irresistible gas station snacks, remember to wash your hands after using the pump. Those pumps can be a breeding ground for germs. And speaking of germs, if you find yourself in a sneezing or coughing fit, be sure to cover up and then disinfect any surfaces you may have touched. We're all in this together, so let's keep those contagious villains at bay. Remember, folks, a simple act like covering your cough or sneeze into your elbow or a tissue can make a world of difference. And if you're feeling a supervillain brewing inside you, do us all a favor and stay home. Together, we can ensure a safe and healthy journey for everyone. Stay safe, and let's conquer those germs together. This message is sponsored by a CDC grant through the Nevada Department of Health and Human Services, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
1015 FM KDAWN. You're listening to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Vegas, The Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Now, here again is Mark Hoke.
And let's get back to it. The best in pro wrestling news and entertainment here on the Mark Hoke Show, live on KDAWN 1015 FM, the talk of Las Vegas. Also streaming on the Odyssey app and live streaming so you can see our beautiful faces. Jason Halperin sitting in with me. Phil Stamper coming up in a little bit. President of Wrestling. Very excited to have Phil. Of course, also does a ton of work with Pro Wrestling Revolver, but he's going to be on the shelf for a while. Getting that knee squared up that he messed up, like goofball. So looking forward to having Phil on in a little bit as soon as he's ready to roll. So get ready for, as we affectionately call him here, El Presidente.
El Presidente.
Yes, should be a lot of fun. So, by the way, in the chat box, we had a couple of comments. So let me make sure I hit those. I know one's going to be part of a topic we're going to hit later, but Gary Johnson, the Ripple Man, says, for motivational therapy, critical thinking, fun, and laughs, listen to the Mark Hoke Show on radio every Sunday morning. It's real. It's wrestling. It's real wrestling. Thank you. Amen. That's kind of like the Jim Ross Skittles promotion there. So thank you, Gary. Jesse Hyde talking about Forbidden Door 2024. So I'm going to save that comment. So, Jesse, I saw it, but we'll come back to that. I promise. We will be talking about Forbidden Door because that's the big pay-per-view coming up next week. So that should be a lot of fun. But we will be talking about AEW and that little. I don't know. That's not really a little ratings hiccup. That's more like a big burp.
Oops.
I think Kendrick got him, but we'll get into it when we get into the second hour here. But we have a few qualifiers for Money in the Bank so far, Jason, and Carmelo Hayes, Melo Don't Miss, is in, and these were some upsets. I was quite pleased to see it. Carmelo's in there. Andrade, our new WWE Speed Champ, is in there. And we've also got Jey Uso. A lot of people are talking about as the favorite to win this thing at this point. So we have 3 on the men's side. We've got 2 on the ladies' side. Io Sky and Chelsea Green is going to be in the women's Money in the Bank match. So kind of hard to predict, with only part of the field in there. But that's for the men's. That's not a bad threesome in there for a ladder match, to say the least. Do you see a winner coming out of those 3 is the question.
Not sure yet. If you do have a winner coming out, if I've got to pick one out of that group right there, I'm probably taking Carmelo Hayes.
Wow. Really?
I'm probably going there. There's a reason that they took him number 1 in the draft. Really going to see a push with him, I'm sure. I still think guys that are coming in, I think that Andrade is going to get too mixed up with Santo Escobar. I see him coming in next week, so I think there's a little more going on there. It's going to sidetrack him. I just don't know if they're gonna really push Jey Uso in that direction, or they're just gonna wait and kind of let him go back with, like I said before, as we were talking about with the whole bloodline thing, and kind of push that aspect. I think Hayes to me would be the favorite right now out of that trio that's in there.
Wow, that is an interesting call. I'll have to check the betting odds on that. If you go to betonline.ag, and by the way, if you use the code that we have on our website, you can get a matching bonus up to $500. Just thought I'd throw that out there. But yeah, that's an interesting call. I know a lot of people are saying Jay's going to win. I still think Drew McIntyre would be the coolest win for Money in the Bank to have. You're laughing because it would be great.
But how's he going to get in there? He's not even in a qualifying match, is he?
I don't.
I mean, they're just putting Finn Balor back in a second chance one. I think that should Finn Balor qualify, I think that's the direction it ends up going, that he ends up winning, and then you have him turning on Judgment Day. And I think that's the breakup on Judgment Day, but Finn's actually got to get in first.
Right. My thought on Drew somehow getting the Money in the Bank briefcase would be that if Punk would win the title, just imagine if Punk won the title and Drew is just torturing him for 4 or 5 months. Could you imagine that?
That would be great.
It would be amazing. That would be great. That'd be incredible.
But don't just think about that, though. He could also torture El Campeón.
He could.
He's at that point able to torture either one of them.
Oh, he could torture anybody.
Yeah.
It'd be fantastic. I mean, Drew McIntyre is just absolutely on fire right now. I would very much enjoy Drew McIntyre with that case.
They need to bring back, if they really want to complete the Drew McIntyre character, you got to go back to the Scottish psychopath. You got to get the long leather coat. You need to bring it back to where he was when he was truly, truly awesome. Let's go back to there.
All right. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I'd be great with it. That would be fantastic. And then give him the briefcase on top of it. That's icing on the cake at that point.
That would be something. It's funny, this whole thing with Punk and McIntyre. I threw up a segment where we talked about it last week with NJ Holiday and Matt Black from WrestleZone, but I did cut down a tiny little portion where I asked the guys, who's the heel? And when I asked the question, one of them said CM Punk and one of them said Drew McIntyre at the same time. It was hilarious. But these guys have done such a great job. But of course we're still waiting for CM Punk to get cleared. So if Phil can keep his body intact, that's a big question. We'll see. He's weak, right? He's weak.
That's Father Time, man. Father Time is still undefeated. Let's never forget that. That's the true champion. Father Time is never losing.
No, he's not. And of course, now the other thing we teased a little bit, and we want to talk about this rumor of Shane McMahon. And of course, Shane supposedly, and this was a conversation JR had with Conrad Thompson on JR's show, that apparently Shane McMahon was having a conversation with AEW about possibly working with them. Everyone's denying this. Tony Khan is saying, I've never met the guy. I've never talked to him. I've got no idea what you're talking about. That's ridiculous. Is it that ridiculous? I'll be honest with you. I think it is ridiculous, but this is the world of professional wrestling. Jason, is AEW a potential home for a McMahon?
I don't see why it couldn't be. I mean, you have both sides. Everyone is adamantly denying it, which really makes you believe that that's just misdirection, that they probably have been talking. And they're just kind of upset that it got leaked out, that it slipped out by somewhere. I don't think it's that ridiculous. The McMahons are at this point, they are the first family of wrestling. As we were talking before the show, Shane kind of got a raw deal, kind of wanted to get away from Pops there and everything going on in the WWE. I think it's a good opportunity. If it is true, let him come back. It could definitely help AEW. I mean, as you said, the slight hiccup, I guess, as we called it, on Wednesday.
It's a belch.
Inserting him into there could definitely help those ratings.
Oh my God. Could you imagine? And by the way, I just see I think I can bring him on here a couple minutes early, just for fun. If he's ready to go. Phil Stamper is here. And since he showed up, I don't want to leave him sitting there for 10 minutes being bored. So let's get Phil Stamper in here on that discussion real fast. I was going to ask him anyway. Let's do it now. Phil, what did you think of that whole thing with Shane McMahon to AEW? Oh, and unfortunately, Phil, I can't hear you. So,
Sure.
How about this? How about
There we go.
I click off my mute button and maybe that'll work then.
That's a winner. Real quick.
What was that?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, just real quick.
So, at first when it came out, it was like, is this a leak? Is this just conjecture? Because things like this have been talked about before. When it looked like Triple H was going to be ousted from the WWE 2 years ago, he was talked about coming, and there were graphics of like, oh, look who's all elite. So who knows? I'm curious to see if it does go forward. I mean, Shane McMahon has done a lot to stand up his own on his own. I mean, he owns like one of the largest, or is a partner in one of the largest internet companies, I think, in China that also does entertainment stuff. So, he has branched himself out. So seeing that, yeah, like you said, I love wrestling and I don't want my name to be associated with my family name and some of the negativity that's gone there. Hey, I've tried to warn people of things that were happening and it wasn't listened to. So why don't I go somewhere else and enjoy my time in wrestling? And it might help bring up a bounce in the AEW ratings at the same time.
It would be interesting. I mean, I'm not going to deny it. Like I said, I just can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it could happen. We've seen wilder things happen in this industry, but oh my God, a McMahon and AEW. No, my mind just can't wrap my head around it. It would be pretty hilarious, though. Could you imagine Thanksgiving dinner?
Oh, that'd be fun.
That'd be fun. Like to sneak a bug in there, that's for sure. So, anyway, hey, we are wrapping up our first hour, and the president of wrestling is with us now. So I've got Jason and Phil coming back for hour number 2. I'm thrilled about that. So, guys, we've got a whole lot more to come. We're going to talk about what the heck happened on Wednesday night to AEW, Forbidden Door, and a whole lot more with Phil Stamper and Jason Halperin here on the Mark Hoke Show. So stick around. It's going to be a great second hour here on KDAWN. We're happy to have you with us. We'll be right back after the hour break. So stick around, everybody. The best in pro wrestling. Want more of the Mark Hoke Show? Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show. Like us on Facebook at The Mark Hoke Show, and visit markhokeshow.com to keep up with everything happening with the show. And remember to check out all of our archive shows on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show, and download our podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. So join the Mark Hoke Show family today, and thanks for listening.
In Nevada, anything that goes into the storm drain goes directly to our local waterways, which can pollute Nevada's lakes and rivers. Nevada is the driest state in the nation, and we must work together to preserve our limited water resources for future generations of Nevadans. Here's some waterway wisdom so you can help do your part this summer. Wash your vehicle at a car wash or on grass or gravel. Avoid sprinkler runoff. Scoop your dog's poop, bag it, and discard it. Collect grass clippings and put them in the trash. And secure and pack out trash when recreating. Keep contaminants out of our storm drains. Use waterway wisdom. And remember, only rain should go into the storm drain. Join us in preserving Nevada's waters for future generations by visiting lovenvwaters.com and following us on social media. This message sponsored by the Nevada Department of Transportation, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Ready for your next vacation? Not so fast. Before you hit the road, remember these healthy habits to keep yourself and others safe and sanitary. Wash your hands after using the restroom, before eating and after blowing your nose. Sanitize airplane seats and tray tables. Sneeze or cough into a tissue or your elbow. And avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth with unwashed hands. Lastly, make sure you're up to date on all your routine vaccines, including the COVID-19 vaccine. It's also important to get tested when necessary, such as if you develop COVID-19 symptoms before, during, or after travel. If you will be traveling to visit someone who is at a higher risk of getting very sick from COVID-19, or if you're in a situation with a greater risk of exposure during travel. Pack these tips on your next adventure. And remember, travel safely, Nevadans. This message is sponsored by a CDC grant through the Nevada Department of Health and Human Services, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey, this is Kevin Love. At times, life can feel scary, and we can get overwhelmed by anxiety. Mindfulness can help you get through these tough times. My nonprofit is partnering with Headspace to offer free content to help you stress less. It's as easy to do as this. Take a big, deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. In and out. Head to kevinlovefund.org/headspace and be kind to your mind.
Hey, Nevadans, prescriptions can be expensive. Let the Array RX discount card be your solution. Now available to all Nevada residents. Simply sign up for free, show your pharmacist your digital card, and save money. Receive discounts of up to 80% on certain medications. There are no age or income restrictions, and it only takes a minute to enroll. Visit ArrayRxCard.com to learn more and sign up today.
This message funded by a grant through the Nevada Department of Health and Human Services, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
KMXB HD3 Henderson, K268CS Las Vegas. Always live on the free Odyssey app. 1015 FM KDAWN.
10 people shot in the heartland. I'm Jack Callahan, Fox News. In an arts district in Columbus, Ohio. Happened at 2:30 this morning. Columbus police say all of the victims are males, the youngest 16, the oldest 27. At least one of them critically injured. Police have a description of the shooter's car. They're searching for him. 6 people were also shot in a park in Rochester, New York early this morning. A cop in Philadelphia is in critical condition, shot in the neck last evening. Cops say by a suspect attempting to flee a traffic stop on foot. Philadelphia's Police Commissioner Kevin Bethel says the alleged shooter didn't get away for long.
Right now, we have persons of interest. All of those individuals who were involved in the incident are now as individuals of interest, and they are in our custody.
The 31-year-old officer, who's been with the Philadelphia Police Department for 6 years, reported to be in critical condition following surgery. State police in Arkansas say a fourth person has died from Friday's mass shooting in Fordyce. 81-year-old Ellen Schramm succumbed to her wounds last night. A 44-year-old man who police say exchanged gunfire with them was wounded and arrested. He'll now be charged with a fourth count of murder. Still no word on a possible motive for the shooting. Former President Trump rallying on the Temple University campus last night in Philadelphia and wasted no time attacking President Biden's record on the issues of migrants, inflation, and crime.
First, I will stand with the heroes of law enforcement. We will give our police officers the respect and protection, resources, and support that they need to drive down your crime to zero.
The former president will debate President Biden on Thursday evening. Iowa's Governor Kim Reynolds declaring a disaster and asking some residents in the northwestern part of the state to evacuate because of flooding. Several homes in Sioux County are now underwater after days of heavy rainfall pushed some of the rivers in the area to record-breaking flood levels. America is listening to Fox News.
The world of business moves fast. Stay on top of it with the Fox Business Rundown every Monday and Friday. Fox Business reporters, anchors, and hosts will bring you beneath the stock market speculation and boardroom drama to tell you about the biggest business stories of today. Whether you're on Main Street or Wall Street, Fox Business is invested in you.
Listen to the Fox Business Rundown every Monday and Friday at foxbusinesspodcasts.com or wherever you download your favorite podcasts. Interesting people are talking to Will Kane.
I said, what do I call you? I call you Dwayne. I call you The Rock. He said, now that I own it, I can call you The Rock.
Yes, I own it now. You can call me The Rock.
Our next guest needs no introduction. It is Dr. Jordan Peterson, my old friend and frenemy, Stephen A. Smith.
What is going on here? I see the Will Kane show in the background. I see the microphone.
Watch it live at noon Eastern, Monday through Thursday on foxnews.com. And get the podcast 5 days a week at foxnewspodcasts.com or wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Las Vegas. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Going bell to bell with the best in professional wrestling news, entertainment, and lots of Sin City surprises from inside the squared circle. Now, let's get to all the exciting pro wrestling action. And bring on the host. Here is Mark Hoke.
All right, everybody, let's do this. The best of pro wrestling news and entertainment. Hour number 2. Oh, it just keeps flying by. I feel like hour number 1, just a snap, a wrinkle in time, as the kids like to say. Very happy to have you with us here on the Mark Hoke Show, whether you're on KDAWN, the Odyssey app, which you should download right now, or you are just not a good person. See, Phil's laughing at me. That's okay. That's all right. It's supposed to be funny. No, it's not. Download the Odyssey app now. Do it. Or, of course, if you're catching us on our live stream, which is a great place to go, you could, there's a million ways to do this, but you can join us on YouTube, Facebook, and I added X on there as well. Thought I'd give that a run, see how that goes, and then join us on our chat box. You can talk to us about whatever you want, and we'll answer your questions. Great time. Thanks for being with us, and it's a great time to be a pro wrestling fan. What an incredible time in our industry, and so much happening. It has been just a lot of fun to be a part of this, and we thank you for joining us in our little corner of the world here on KDAWN on the Mark Hoke Show. I've got Jason Halperin here, of course. Jason, tell everybody a little bit about what you got going on. By the way, what are you doing, man? Other than being buried in the world of soccer,
just completely buried in the world of soccer. Just coaching. Got my son's team. He's in U16 soccer and youth soccer, playing on the regional, state, and national levels. A lot of traveling with that. Outside of that, filling in and helping out on great shows such as this. Obviously, SportsX Radio. I got some shows coming up there as well in the next 2 weeks. So you can definitely find me on there. You can always find me on Twitter, LV Hitman. Other than that, that's pretty much what I got going. And like I said, just buried up to my neck in soccer right now. Euros, got that going on. I know it's all the fun stuff to handle right now.
I actually did compliment your friend Tom Viola about indoor soccer.
We did win a championship last week. Of course, Tom was not there for it.
That makes sense then.
Just to kind of put that one out there, Tom was not part of that actually championship game. I did have to fill in for Tom in goal to make sure that we secured that championship.
Understandable. And of course, the other goofball that is joining me today with a white background, by the way, and I'm stunned on this.
Yeah.
We have, of course, he is the president of wrestling. He's a little hobbled right now, and I feel bad. Why? I don't know what it is with all my friends going to have surgery within this week. My best friend just had a hernia surgery on Friday, and now Phil Stamper is headed under the knife as well, as he's going to get his knee taken care of. I guess one of his political competitors must have capped him or something in the street.
Nancy Kerrigan.
The old Tanya Harding move was just put on you.
But we are very excited to have the man you can find on Twitter at Trust and Phil Stamper, of course, with Pro Wrestling Revolver, who had a pretty fun card apparently last night. Very, very happy to have you joining us, Phil. What's going on?
Thank you for having me. So actually, because I'm going under surgery, I had to move where my office was in the house so I could get access to it when I can't move my leg.
Oh, okay.
So I've been getting the house ready. Tore my ACL in my left knee. So that surgery is going to be this Wednesday. So I will be out of it for probably a few days.
Does that affect your duties as president?
I mean, yes, it does, but to an extent where I'm still able to manage it just with a couple days vacation.
Okay, fair enough. I didn't know if the vice president had to step in. Do you have a vice president?
No, I don't have a vice president because I'm all you need.
Wow. That's pretty cocky. I think if someone ran against you, I think they'd have to have a platform of I do have a vice president in case of incapacitation. It is professional wrestling, Phil.
I mean, that is true. You never know what could happen, and things do happen like this. But you have to move forward. And I will say, as much as I can do remotely, I've been doing remotely, and that still hasn't stopped me from cutting promos and vignettes and winning the 48-hour film contest in Washington, D.C. So,
oh, wow.
Great.
Very
a lot
cool.
of things have been going on.
Well, good for you. Well, Phil, we're very happy to have you on the Mark Hoke Show. We certainly do appreciate it. So I've been teasing this for a while. I guess we need to dive into this whole thing. Boy, AEW didn't have a real good week, of course, coming into the Forbidden Door pay-per-view next weekend. And this ratings issue that everybody is just pounding on them right now. So if you didn't hear what happened on Wednesday night, they got one of their worst nights they've ever had. Wednesday night's episode, 502,000 viewers. It was a 26.3% drop from last week. Third lowest audience total in the history of the show. Lowest Dynamite ever had on a Wednesday night. The two other episodes were when they got moved to Saturday due to NBA coverage. Now the funny part is they still finished third on the cable charts with a 0.16 in the 18 to 49 demo, but there were no major sports competitions on. College World Series is on, Olympic trials were on. There was one other thing that was on though, and I'm just wondering if we're going to give them the out on this to a point. That Kendrick Lamar concert was streaming on Amazon. Is that an excuse, guys? Was that enough of a pull on Juneteenth to take a chunk out of the demo and hurt them enough? Or do we really have a concern? I mean, I imagine it's probably going to bounce back next week, but still, that's a rough day.
The biggest challenge I see when we look at ratings now is how much do then they incorporate the overnight watching on digital streams. If they recorded it on their devices, they went back. I think it was here if it was DirecTV or Xfinity, like you can watch it after it airs almost immediately. So it's sort of like, well, what about those numbers too? Because I think that's relevant. So if it was whether it was Kendrick Lamar or, hey, I have a day off and I'm enjoying the day, and I'll pick back up when I come home later that night, or whatever it may be. How much of an impact does that have that then we could capture later on if we got those digital numbers? We're not that great in America on capturing that. England does really well on that. But AEW keeps having these slips and slides, and they need something to spread their odds a little bit better than they have been. I really enjoy their product. I really like a lot of the stuff that they're doing right now. But then you have like these moments where there's still cracks in the veneer. But like I think it's a mistake to do Forbidden Door this weekend, and 2 months later they're going to go back to Wembley. I think they oversaturate a market to death, and I'm a little bit worried about what they're doing next.
Jason, what do you think about this?
I kind of have to agree with Phil. The oversaturation. I think that there's just too much. It's too much too soon. You've got to kind of, if you really want to pull, you've got to spread it out a little bit better. The dip. I also once again agree with Phil that you don't see the true ratings. I mean, I'm a guy. I didn't watch it live. I'll be honest with you. I taped it, watched it. That's usually what I end up doing with most of them. So I'm not accounted for in any of those ratings numbers. But there's just so much out there to watch, and there's people just take a little break. It's almost like the dog days, like we said earlier. There's every weekend there's been a pay-per-view. There's been a pay-per-view. This was like kind of the break. There were no pay-per-views coming up this weekend, so people just kind of took a break this week. I think that's really where it was, and I think they're going to rebound. Should they be concerned? I think there still needs to be some concern that the numbers have been showing decline. Yes, you always want to be concerned about that, but is it something that they're going to have to hit the panic button on? Probably not.
Yeah, there was another interesting statistic that was in this article that I was just looking at, that and bear with for 1 second, that it was the 31st straight week that Dynamite had declined year over year in total viewers, which, obviously that's not a good trend either. And, you guys bring up some good points. Like, I don't get to watch it live either because I'm at work. I'm, producing a couple of shows here. So I never get to see it live unless I'm kind of have it on the TV, and then I don't get to hear it because I'm listening to what's going on here. So I can't hear it. So I got to go back and check it out. But I just wonder sometimes with AEW that they do need to tweak some things. And, my theory on them is I think while they do a good job storytelling long-term, I think that there's just some things where you're putting great matches on, but I think that sometimes they concentrate on that too much. If you guys know what I mean. That every week you have, on Dynamite especially, you've got a lot of great matches, but there's not a lot of big story behind some of these great matches. You'll put together a dream match, like when they had Edge and Suzuki, for example, and it's like, oh, we're going to have this big match. But a lot of people, the casual viewer, doesn't know why this is a big match. And when you don't put anything behind it, it doesn't have the significance, so therefore it doesn't have the draw. And Phil, this, especially being in the business, that if you don't have a story behind a match, it doesn't have the impact, and it's not going to get a fan emotionally involved in it, and they're not going to be excited, which means you're not going to sell as many tickets, and you're not going to get the eyes on it as much as you would when somebody is emotionally invested in it. And that's the same as anywhere in the entertainment industry with a movie or a TV show. If it's just, if I make a TV show, that's great. But if I don't have something behind it that is getting people to really want to watch it, I mean, I can have the greatest one-shot episode of a TV show, but if I don't have 7 other chapters leading up to that great episode, what's the point? So, I mean, Phil, what do you think of that? Do you think that's a problem that AEW has?
You're right. Like what you said is it's like they're their own contradiction, because they have some great long-term stuff, and then they do a lot of this ooh-ah, but not ooh-ah-wah. Like,
Yeah.
So people will talk about, they do this very quick sort of like, you're going to have this killer dream match that you didn't know you really wanted to see next week. Okay, well, that might be an appeal, but what else is getting them to then want to come back? What's the emotional connection? You're absolutely right in that. And again, I like the product. I want to see it succeed, but they're also dealing with a roster that's bloated. I don't know if they have a long-term plan or direction, but a lot of their stuff is pretty shotgun. I think this is sort of a long time thing for me. I hated how they introduced Kenny Omega, because in my mind, Kenny Omega, tremendous athlete around the world. He is known. In the United States, he isn't. I wish they had brought him in differently to build him up to have become the guy versus, well, I'm already here and I'm the guy. And that, because to me, that's been representative of a lot of the stuff they've done in AEW. Somebody comes in, hey, look, I'm the guy. And 2 weeks later, you don't see them for 3 more months.
That happens a lot with the Japanese wrestlers that they bring in too. It's like when these guys are a big deal in Japan, and it's okay, Phil. Nobody saw that.
Nobody saw that.
Not on this end. But they'll bring a lot of these Japanese wrestlers in, and a smart fan knows who they are, right? Someone who follows it very deeply. But a casual fan, one you're trying to bring in, may not know who Okada is. They don't know some of these guys. And when they just show up, I mean, an AEW fan, who tends to follow that stuff pretty tightly, is going to go nuts when they show up. But the person who may just be tuning in for the first time, or is a more casual fan, is going to be like, who Raymaker? Who is this?
Yeah.
And and it's the same thing with a lot of these other ones they're bringing, like with Forbidden Door. It's these are great dream matches that they're setting up, but generally the American public doesn't know who they are. Now you're going to sell out Forbidden Door because of how cool the concept is, and you're going to get those smart fans in, but generally, it's kind of all right. I don't know who this person is, so why should I get excited about it?
And I'm sorry, Jason, go ahead.
No, I was going to say where I was going to go with it was, so then the problem there really isn't the matches. It, to me, is more creative. You really got to get creative. You've got to get some better promos cut. You've got to really build there, and it's more of behind the scenes. They've got to do a better job there of getting their creative to build up these characters and build these storylines. That's probably where it's hurting them the most. It's not the on-air product. It's the behind the scenes. And I'm going to tie it back into something we just talked about before. That's where a guy like Shane McMahon might be able to bring ideas in to help boost this. But I know they haven't talked, though.
Yeah, it's very intriguing. Listen, I think their numbers are going to go back up, but there has been some dwindling there. And the other part that I had discussed about was that they're doing a lot of things that I think are hurting them in terms of family, being more family friendly. A lot of blood and a lot of some, just if you just look back at the Anarchy in the Arena match, where Jack Perry got lit on fire and Darby Allin was hanging upside down for 10 minutes. I mean, Jason, my daughter's 15, so right in the middle there. But Jason, how old are your kids?
He's 15.
Yeah. So think of our kids, say 6 or 7 years ago. Imagine if they were sitting watching that. What would the reaction be? It probably wouldn't have been good.
No.
They've been freaking out. So, there's some stuff I think they need to take a look at. Would you agree with that, Phil?
I would. I think the biggest problem is what seems to be the message is that Tony Khan is the one who wants to make all of the decisions. All roads go through him, and he feels he's doing a great job. And so, if the person who's paying for everything, controlling everything, running everything, doesn't want to hear this, or maybe he'll hear it but not like take it in and change anything, then it's going to be going in the same direction until something else stops it.
Isn't there a couple of cautionary tales out there by the names of Eric Bischoff? I don't want to tear Eric up too bad, but WCW and Vince McMahon to teach you a little bit.
You
Man, the playbooks are out there, They're out there.
And my understanding behind the scenes is that there have been people who've confronted Tony at, this is weird. Why are we doing this? Do you not see that this seems to be the reaction? Hey, we should probably change. I know what I'm doing. Okay.
Yes. Well, and I do think it, and it's an interesting conflict. I mean, we could probably talk about this topic all day long, but you do see him bringing in some new personnel to at least, which to me at least says to him, he knows something's not right.
Yeah.
Right. That's a sign to me that he's trying to tweak some things. The question is, if you bring new people in to give you some new ideas, what do you do with it? Because you can hire all the new people you want, but if you don't listen to them, it doesn't matter. So, and I love AEW too. I mean, anybody that knows me knows how ecstatic I was when that company started up and how much I've loved watching the product. But, so there's chinks in the armor, and I don't want to see anything bad happen to this company. They're too good for wrestling, and, they're great people. I mean, everybody I've worked with AEW, I think has been fantastic. And, the performers are awesome. So let's just hope things are okay. But on the other side, the tribalism, when this rating came out, good Lord, come on, stand down a little bit. I mean, everybody's writing the scripts for the death of AEW off this. And I'm like, take it easy. It's been nuts.
Right. I mean, social media is only a part of the entire fan landscape, but you think it's all of it. And it's like, just keep in mind, like, it isn't, but there is some representation of some of it. So that tribalism is insane. It's intense. And I'm like, you really need to be like that. Like, okay, if you don't like AEW, then turn to the next product. If you don't like WWE, turn to the next product. Or if you like wrestling, then just enjoy wrestling.
Right. Watch some Revolver.
Absolutely.
That'd be a good idea.
Available on Fight TV or Triller TV.
Yeah, there you go. All right, guys, let's take a break. And when we come back, we've got a whole lot more pro wrestling fun stuff for you with Phil Stamper and Jason Halperin sitting in with me today. These two guys are amazing. But you know what I want to talk about one guy who I don't know why they can't use him right. He's somebody I believe in. I'm sure these guys believe in him too, and I just don't get it. I don't get it. And there was another episode of this little TV show that aired. We're going to talk about that too. We'll be right back.
At Affordable Dentures and Implants, our Snap Secure Dental Implants will let you eat and speak with confidence at a price that's affordable. So if you think you can't afford dental implants, think again. Our practices in Las Vegas and Henderson are open to serve you. Schedule a free new smile consultation by calling 1-800-DENTURE or visit affordabledentures.com to find the practice near you. That's 1-800-DENTURE or visit affordabledentures.com. Schedule your new smile consultation today. Affordable Dentures and Implants.
Go ahead and smile.
You're pregnant, and no matter what you do, no matter what you try, you can't stop using alcohol, drugs, or tobacco. But no matter how lost you are, how far along you are, it's not too late. There's always hope, and there are many safe places that can help you stop using. In Nevada, pregnant women are given the highest priority for substance use treatment. Low-cost treatment options may be available so you and your baby can get healthy now. If you or someone you love is pregnant or thinking about getting pregnant and using alcohol, drugs, or tobacco, visit SoberMomsHealthyBabies.org or call 211 to find help today. SoberMomsHealthyBabies.org also has resources for healthcare providers, friends, and family. If you want to help someone who's pregnant and using, visit SoberMomsHealthyBabies.org or call 211 today. Sponsored by the Nevada Division of Public and Behavioral Health and in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Understanding the many things in a mother's life affecting her pregnancy is important. You can help improve the health of all mothers and babies in Nevada by completing a pregnancy risk assessment monitoring system survey about your recent pregnancy. Also known as PRAMS, the survey is from the Nevada Division of Public and Behavioral Health and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The survey asks new moms about their experience before, during, and after pregnancy. Responses are confidential and used to help improve the health of mothers and babies in Nevada. If you receive a PRAMS survey, please share your story. Learn more at nvprams.dpbh.nv.gov. That's nvprams.dpbh.nv.gov. This message sponsored by the Nevada Division of Public and Behavioral Health, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey there, I'm Healthy Hank, your health hero, here to give you little habits for healthy travel. Picture this. You're on a road trip making a quick pit stop at the gas station. Before you dive into those irresistible gas station snacks, remember to wash your hands after using the pump. Those pumps can be a breeding ground for germs. Together, we can ensure a safe and healthy journey for everyone. Stay safe, and let's conquer those germs together. This message is sponsored by a CDC grant through the Nevada Department of Health and Human Services, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
1015 FM KDAWN.
This is the Mark Hoke Show.
The Mark Hoke Show.
Here again, your host, Mark Hoke.
All right. Sorry, I lost it there for a second. We're having a great time here on the Mark Hoke Show, the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment on KDAWN. Oh yeah, I gotta get everybody back on the live stream too.
There we are.
Oh my God,
You having a moment there?
I am having a moment. it's the PSAs. I can't do it. I gotta sell more ads. We need to eradicate those. Anyone that would like to join the Mark Hoke Show family, I just inked a new deal with somebody, and got a few more in the works. But anyone that would like to join our team, especially WrestleMania coming to Las Vegas, and that would like to make all those PSAs go away, I mean, just buy a 30-second spot and say, "Hey, I'm awesome." I'll take it. I can set you up cheap. Like you can take out an ad that says Phil Stamper is the greatest president of wrestling ever, and then you don't have to listen to about Healthy Hank. Just drop me a line at markhokeshow@gmail.com.
Buy my shirts, people.
Listen to this guy.
Shameless promo.
Yep, that's okay. That's what we're supposed to do here. Oh God, Mark Hoke Show on KDAWN 1015 FM, the talk of Las Vegas, streaming on the Odyssey app, live streaming on X and Facebook and YouTube. Thanks for being with us. I believe in Jason Halperin. I believe in Phil Stamper. And I believe in Joe Hendry. Joe made his NXT debut, showed up for that 25-man number one contenders battle royal. The crowd goes nuts. The room is shaking. If you saw it, it literally was because the cameras were bouncing. Joe gets in there and is immediately thrown out by Frankie Kazarian. And at the Against All Odds pay-per-view, he not only gets beat up once, but twice. This guy is one of the hottest wrestlers on the planet right now. Why does everybody want him to lose? Why? What is everybody doing with Joe Hendry? I swear to God, if I was Joe, I would start the Joe Hendry Pro Wrestling Federation.
He just might. You never know.
Do it. And everybody could just sing Joe's songs. He could write the theme music. I will
buy a
go
30-second commercial spot on the Mike Hoke Show.
Right. I will go work for Joe Hendry right now. Phil, what's going on?
I understand from the NXT perspective. I completely understand it, and they are continuing to do what they did when AEW first started, which is, we're not going to make the comparable of AEW WWE. We're going to make them comparable to AEW to our student show NXT, and they're kind of doing the same with Impact. We're going to bring back a guy we used to have one time before, who's now over on TNA, right back on NXT. So I see that comparable, and then of course they're not going to put him over. And in that same respect, though, look what they've done with Jordan Grace and the wonderful response that Jordan has gotten, but they've given her time to do that. With Joe Hendry, I totally get. They're not going to shotgun him in and make him number one contender. That would get a lot of talk and buzz. But hey, they got a lot of buzz just by him being. got a lot of eyes and attention. Oh, what is this about? I don't know why they're doing it though on Impact or excuse me on TNA. That I don't know. I'm like, give him a little something. Look what he's did for himself. Really, he generated all of that. Yes, he had support with friends that are at TNA, but he really generated all that attention from his song by himself.
Yep. He knows what he's doing. I just don't. Jason, what are your thoughts on what's going on with Joe Hendry?
I mean, are they purposely wanting him to lose wherever he goes? Probably not, but I kind of have to agree with Phil here that you just gotta kind of give him some time, let him get his feet underneath him, and then he'll be fine.
He's been there forever. He's been in TNA forever. Why is he not at least in a feud with Ali right now or something? I don't understand. I mean, this guy is so hot. I mean, at least in that battle royal that they had for NXT, get him down to the final 4 or something. Don't chuck him out immediately. I mean, maybe once again, I'm not in the room. Maybe there's a plan. Maybe there's a plan to down the road, give him another push. Maybe when his contract's up, they're planning ahead and we're going to steal Joe Hendry and, get him the mega push at WrestleMania or something. Who knows? But I'm sorry. I think when you have the hottest guy out there in terms of indie wrestling and TNA and so on, the guy is promoting himself like crazy and everybody is singing that song. You got to capitalize. I got in this argument about Caitlin Clark with somebody from the WNBA a couple of days ago, about not putting her on the Olympic team. And I said, you strike while the iron's hot. You don't say, oh, well, in a few years. You don't know about a few years. You know about now. So you act in the now, and you take advantage of what's happening now. You don't hope what's happening now is going to be going on 3 years from now. You take the shot. Just me. Am I wrong? Am I off base, guys? Anybody?
I mean, I will say, did you see now they did this on social media? So yes, it's less than their broadcast, but did you see the interaction you had with Shawn Michaels on social media? The video capture that he gets eliminated and he goes back to Shawn Michaels. He starts complaining. He walks away and Shawn Michaels looks at him and goes, "I believe." It's like, okay, that would have been great to show on television, but I'm like, that's a nice little tidbit of by Shawn Michaels saying he believes. Does that mean that there's an opportunity that door is going to be open again for him to come back to NXT for something else? Is he going to make his presence known next week?
Of course it is. You know why? Because he's hot.
Mm-hmm.
They'd be stupid to not bring him back. If you're standing back in gorilla position right now, when that happened, and you see that place got the roof blown off, no matter what Joe Hendry said to you coming back, if it was sarcastic or not, you'd be like, I got to do something with him. I got to do something with this guy. Just like Jordan Grace. I mean, I was at the Apex with Jordan Grace when she came out, and she blew the lid off the place. Yeah. Absolutely blew off the place. And people are chanting TNA. You got to keep doing stuff with Jordan Grace because you'd be stupid not to. And it's the same thing with Joe Hendry. I don't know. Like I said, and TNA has a giant golden nugget in their hand. Do something with him. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's a guy that, I'd be considering putting the world title on him right now. I really would. Just me. So there we go. I feel a little better, guys. I do. Do I look better? No, maybe. No,
not the same.
Yeah, fair enough. All right.
The blood pressure, feel better. The blood pressure is up here. We need to be down here. Right.
I believe in Joe Hendry. Phil Stamper, Jason Halperin joining me, Mark Hoke, here on the Mark Hoke Show on KDAWN. Very happy to have all of you with us. We are just having an awesome time here talking pro wrestling with two good friends and having a great time. Oh, Phil, you got love in the chat box, by the way.
Okay.
Look at this stuff. Tara Becker. Hey, Phil. I don't know if
Okay.
I don't know if that's a hey Phil or a hey Phil, but you
Uh-oh.
know, but and we got a hashtag trust and Phil. Bionic Scoops in there saying salute. You guys, Pro Wrestling Revolver needs to hire Bionic Scoop to do photography because he's amazing. Mark Swan says hi Phil. Look at this.
Oh, good
Look at
deal.
this.
Awesome.
Bionic Scoop says use NXT to establish a bit of a mean streak and push him that way. If you listen to the program carefully, all right.
Or is it then just maybe the beginning of the, I don't want to say flood because I don't want to make it seem like it's an overrun. Definitely don't want to do an invasion angle, but is it an opportunity now to be like, we brought in Jordan, we've brought in Joe Hendry. What if this is a total what if? Please nobody take this and walk away going, I know something, because I know nothing. But like, because you've seen this on social media. Oh, the Rascals have teased, hey, what if we did a Rascals reunion? Wesley is there, formerly Desmond. I mean, what if we come back together? And Zachary Wentz used to be there. So, hey, there's a familiarity with the company and how things work to bring them in. Sammy Callahan and Joe Gacy had a little bit of a back and forth on social media. What if Sammy shows up next week on NXT? Like, would there be these little drops that they could do to tease more interest in doing it? I mean, and the thing is, WWE doesn't need to do this. Even for the getting that little bit of attention, you can say, well, Joe Hendry, went number one even for a couple of days in some of his markets and stayed in the top 10 for a little bit longer in some markets with his song. Is that all it was? Or is it that, no, we're going to try to capitalize on this whole connection of what is NXT going to do next? What are the surprises that NXT can do? So inside the wrestling community, there's this positive talk about the cool things they're doing to open up the door that Triple H says is non-existent.
Well, very good point. Yeah, it is very interesting, and I was thinking about this the other day that with so many companies being willing to work with each other now, that the connections and the possibilities are getting to be somewhat endless. With New Japan working with AEW and CML and AAA kind of going all over the place, and now WWE has opened a door that I would have never expected to be open. I'm curious. Would you love to see WWE someday? Could you imagine someday a WWE AEW card? I mean, Phil's kind of grinning a little bit, but Jason, how could you imagine the possibility? I mean, those joint promotion cards are always interesting because then you got to fight about who's going over and all that stuff. But I think everybody's starting to realize we're all better together than we are apart.
I think it'd be great. I don't know if some of the talent across those brands would want to do it. I think there's some animosity, and that's why you have those talents have left certain companies and gone to the other company, and I think that would be the problem that you would have with an AEW and a WWE doing a cross promotion, something along those lines. That's just my take on it.
Well, you know what? A paycheck would solve any animosity problems in a hurry.
I mean, I will say, so we spent all that time talking about AEW. And I don't know if y'all remember the promo where a whole bunch of the former TNA folks got together and basically did their shaking their finger at TNA and how they felt they were done dirty. And now things have changed at TNA. And look, the Broken Hardys are back.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, things change too. So you're right, absolutely right. Yeah. Where there might be certain people who block certain ways or feel like, hey, I can't be there because of this association. Certain associations have changed now, and look, now they're back.
Yeah. It's such a fascinating time in pro wrestling. We all fantasy book and dream about things that can happen, but oh man, these kind of little tiny things just make you think big, and it gets pretty exciting. So, and well, I tell you what, I'm actually at commercial break time, so why don't we do that? Let's get our break in, and when we come back, speaking of things that cause all sorts of animosity, WCW's Who Killed WCW episode 3 aired. Holy God, this thing, I don't know what to say, but there were some pretty deep topics that thing hit. And I want to talk about that with Phil Stamper and Jason Halperin on the Mark Hoke Show. So we're going to hit that and a little bit about Forbidden Door when we come back too. So stick around, everybody. Got a whole lot more on the Mark Hoke Show on KDAWN. We'll be right back.
You're pregnant, and no matter what you do, no matter what you try, you can't stop using alcohol, drugs, or tobacco. But no matter how lost you are, how far along you are, it's not too late. There's always hope, and there are many safe places that can help you stop using. In Nevada, pregnant women are given the highest priority for substance use treatment. Low-cost treatment options may be available so you and your baby can get healthy now. If you or someone you love is pregnant or thinking about getting pregnant and using alcohol, drugs, or tobacco, visit SoberMomsHealthyBabies.org or call 211 to find help today. SoberMomsHealthyBabies.org also has resources for healthcare providers, friends, and family. If you want to help someone who's pregnant and using, visit SoberMomsHealthyBabies.org or call 211 today. Sponsored by the Nevada Division of Public and Behavioral Health and in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey there, I'm Healthy Hank, your health hero, here to give you little habits for healthy travels. Picture this, you're loading up to hit the road for a day trip with the fam, and you've got a sneezy situation on your hand. A simple act like covering your cough or sneeze into your elbow or a tissue can make a world of difference. And if you're feeling a supervillain brewing inside you, do us all a favor and stay home. Together, we can ensure a safe and healthy journey for everyone. This message is sponsored by a CDC grant through the Nevada Department of Health and Human Services, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
In Nevada, anything that goes into the storm drain goes directly to our local waterways, which can pollute Nevada's lakes and rivers. Nevada is the driest state in the nation, and we must work together to preserve our limited water resources for future generations of Nevadans. Here's some waterway wisdom so you can help do your part this summer. Wash your vehicle at a car wash or on grass or gravel. Avoid sprinkler runoff. Scoop your dog's poop, bag it, and discard it. Collect grass clippings and put them in the trash. And secure and pack out trash when recreating. Keep contaminants out of our storm drains. Use waterway wisdom. And remember, only rain should go into the storm drain. Join us in preserving Nevada's waters for future generations by visiting lovenvwaters.com and following us on social media. This message sponsored by the Nevada Department of Transportation, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Are you shopping for healthcare coverage for a small business? Whether you're renewing a plan or shopping for a new one, the Vegas Chamber Health Plan, backed by Anthem, has many of the advantages usually reserved for a larger organization, like access to care across Nevada at lower cost. Lock in quality healthcare at budget-friendly prices through July 2024. Go to vegaschamber.com/anthem. Brought to you by the Vegas Chamber in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Ready for your next vacation? Not so fast. Before you hit the road, remember these healthy habits to keep yourself and others safe and sanitary. Wash your hands after using the restroom, before eating and after blowing your nose. Sanitize airplane seats and tray tables. Sneeze or cough into a tissue or your elbow. And avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth with unwashed hands. Lastly, make sure you're up to date on all your routine vaccines, including the COVID-19 vaccine. It's also important to get tested when necessary, such as if you develop COVID-19 symptoms before, during, or after travel. If you'll be traveling to visit someone who is at a higher risk of getting very sick from COVID-19, or if you're in a situation with a greater risk of exposure during travel. Pack these tips on your next adventure. And remember, travel safely, Nevadans. This message is sponsored by a CDC grant through the Nevada Department of Health and Human Services, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
101.5 FM KDAWN.
You're listening to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Vegas, The Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Now, here again is Mark Hoke.
See, look, everybody on the live stream. I can share dance. Yeah, let's go. Get funky. Mark Hoke here. Well, it's my show, The Mark Hoke Show. Thanks for being with us. Jason Halperin sitting in with me. First time on the show. Happy to have Jason with me. And Phil Stamper, he's been here a few times. He can't get enough. He loves it here, man.
Does mean I'm a reoccurring character now?
I guess. I guess. That's a good way to put it. I don't know. You're just a pal.
There you go. I'll take it.
Yeah. got to get out here for WrestleMania. I'm going to get you to Vegas sometime, man. Man, we got to.
I really should have come when I thought I might have had a chance back in
I
May.
told you.
Which now, actually, as I think about it, then I wouldn't have been able to because that's when I blew out my knee. So,
see, but then maybe if you'd have come out, so you wouldn't have blown your knee out because I would have.
Well, that happened like the weekend before is when I blew out my knee.
See, but I would have changed your life trajectory, and maybe whatever caused you to blow your knee out wouldn't have happened because you'd maybe preparing to come to Las Vegas like you should have, and it's a ripple, man.
Fair.
So it's a ripple. Just trying to help. All right, back to the pro wrestling here on KDAWN. Happy to have everybody with us. I did want to get a little bit of Forbidden Door stuff in. Guys, this card, once again, we're up to 10 matches. But what are you looking forward to on this one? I mean, this main event's going to be off the chain with Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay. That's probably the big one, the TNT Championship. We got the 6-man ladder match. Why does everybody have a ladder match? But okay, it's all
why
good.
not?
Yeah,
why not? I hate ladders right now.
Wonder why.
Phil Stamper. That's what Phil. If you and I ever get in a feud, I'm challenging to do a ladder match immediately.
That's well. I told Sammy when I come back, I'm going to have a match with the ladder.
Oh, there you go.
Because that's how it happened. So I'm just forget anybody else. It's just me versus the ladder.
Yeah. So, those are probably the two matches I'm really looking forward to. The Moxley Naito match should be pretty good too. But, should be a great day. I can't see any real holes in the card. What are you looking forward to on this one, Phil? What's got your eye?
I mean, I'll be the first one you said, honestly, like Strickland and Ospreay. I'm looking for something amazing. There. I just am. Just plain and simple. I think that's just going to be such fun to watch. And I just want to sort of sit back and just ooh-ah.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be pretty amazing. Jason, what do you think of this one?
I'm looking forward to it. The one I'm really looking forward to is the Moxie match. That's the one that really has more of my attention, I think. The ladder match, they're getting a little overdone at this point. I kind of have agreement with that one, but obviously see why they have it.
The one thing about the ladder match is, Jack Perry's kind of the obvious one to win, but you know who I want to win that match? I want Mark Briscoe to win so bad. I know it's not the obvious choice, but it's about time Mark got a title in AEW like that. I mean, that would be amazing, but that's just me. I would enjoy that thoroughly. So, but in terms of once this is over, though, we're getting start working our way back to All In. Ratings problems, want to get things back on track. All In is over, guys. When the hand is raised in the last match and someone is holding the AEW World Championship, I hate to do the name thing, but just for fun, let's try it. Who is the person, if you have the book, that is holding the belt at the end? Jason. Who's got the world title? Who would you have it in their hands when this is done? I know, tough call. Maybe Phil has an answer too. Just chime in when you have an answer, guys.
Yeah. Go ahead, Phil.
Are you saying from everybody in AEW or just specifically?
Who would you have holding the championship when it's all over? Does you go with Swerve and stay with it, or is somebody else got that title?
I mean, right now I am partial to Swerve and what he's doing with it. Like right now, I really, really, really am. I am also a huge fan of Zack Sabre Jr.
Ooh.
I think it is beyond time that he had the New Japan title. But I love the role they've done with him. AEW, pay attention, because now when it happens, and I do believe it's going to, I think it's going to mean that much more because he wasn't rushed to it. He wasn't pushed to it. I know he's had those matches, but it's like, look at everything he's done this whole time and this whole time and this whole time. And that's where I think he's going to end up, because I think he's been almost one of their most constant players. So I me fantasy booking, but again, I'm doing the same mistake AEW's done. I'm going to rush it and make it happen. So I mean, you have in my brain, I'm like, I am stuck somewhere between Strick, Mox and Danielson.
Okay. That's fair. Jason?
Yeah, seeing Danielson come back into the picture could be good. I still have to probably go with Mox on this one.
Wow. All right. It's an interesting call. I would go with Bryan Danielson. I think that they need to get some more recognition with a recognizable face. And Bryan Danielson winning the title at All In, I think, may solve some problems right off the bat. And then you could put him in a feud with MJF and get those two guys back on top and torturing each other for about 6 months and really do something cool. Nothing against Swerve. And then you can bring Swerve back in and have him go against MJF once that's over. So that's my call. I would get Danielson on top. So that's just me. That's where I go. You guys are shaking your heads. It's radio. They can't see that.
I mean, hey.
Well, they're streaming, so they can see it.
That's screaming. They can.
And you were still talking, so I was gonna.
Yeah, it's all good. All right, so that's so get ready for Forbidden Door on next Sunday. That's going to be fun. Who Killed WCW? That episode was wow. We got to see Vince Russo all over again. I don't even know what to say about that episode, but I had to relive the David Arquette thing again, which was honestly the David Arquette and the Bash at the Beach was what killed WCW for me. And watching Vince Russo fight Booker T, I was just like, I was done. That's where I was out, to be honest with you. What did you guys think of this episode, Phil?
So I will say I didn't see this episode, but I've seen the reaction to it.
Mm.
And the very first one was a row of pictures of people. And the three that come to mind was like Eric Bischoff, Vince Russo, and Kevin Nash. And there was somebody else who was up there. And it was like all these old white guys saying it wasn't me and not realizing who it was the whole time.
Wow.
And I was like, oh,
wow. That's a little rough. Jason, go ahead, Phil. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Jason, who killed WCW?
Well, I kind of tend to agree with you on this one. The David Arquette, the Bash at the Beach, that was definitely when they jumped the Shark Tank. It was brutal. That to me was truly the end.
And I was surprised when I heard that both Vince and Eric approved that thing with David winning the championship. I mean, that was just the worst thing ever. I could not believe it. And I felt bad for David Arquette again after I heard that, because what's going to do? Say no? He probably should have, but what's he going to do? He's in the room and they're like, hey, you're going to do this. Okay. And they were in the middle of promoting that movie too. But, I get where Vince Russo was coming from. We could talk about this forever, where it was, look, I want to get people's attention and doing things, but at the same time, it's like, you got to do the right things,
So you mean WCW, the same company that had Black Scorpion at the time that they were putting out the movie Darkman, and WCW, who had RoboCop wrestle?
Yeah.
Put over the movie star with a movie featuring a whole bunch of WCW wrestlers? I don't know.
Shocking.
Looking back and watching it, it was like, at the same time, I felt like there was a point to the ugh. Like, it because of that reaction. It was an emotional reaction. And now how do you recover from it? Now, I don't think they really did recover from it. And because of a lot of other bad decisions before they got to that point, I think it made a lot of people just go, ugh. They just couldn't circle. And then, other things happened along that way.
And
I
think
it was a lot of missed decisions. I don't think it's like one person. I don't think Vince Russo did bad or Eric Bischoff should have done that. I think it's a lot of a combination when you have a community that doesn't hold itself accountable, that doesn't really that doesn't like to point fingers, and it's a lot of a friends thing and a politics thing. Like, let's fix it, but you have to fix it together. And I think they failed at that. Hey, AEW, we're all watching you.
Well, that is a very good point to wrap things up. Well, guys, look, great show, and really do appreciate everybody tuning in here. And That was funny. My scoop in the chat box said, "Who killed WCW?" AKA the Accountability Olympics. That's pretty funny. I give Scoop some points on that. Well, Scoop, we'll see you tonight, by the way, at the FSW 15th anniversary show. Come on out and see us out there. Jason Halperin, Phil Stamper, thank you for a great show and joining me. I really do appreciate it. As always, an awesome time. God bless you guys. And Phil, at Trust and Phil, and of course, PW Revolver. Great promotion. And
shout out to Ace Austin, new world champion.
There you go. Saw that last night. And Jason, we will see you down the road, probably on SportsX Radio. I want to thank everybody for being with us. We will see you next week on the Mark Hoke Show. You can follow us, just Mark Hoke Show, wherever you want to look. And subscribe to us on YouTube. We'd certainly appreciate that. Guys, we'll see you next week. Have a great Sunday.
Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, like us on Facebook at The Mark Hoke Show, and visit markhokeshow.com to keep up with everything happening with the show. And remember to check out all of our archive shows on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show, and download our podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. So join the Mark Hoke Show family today, and thanks for listening.
Our lives aren't like they used to be. They're busier. Early morning Zooms,